Within a split second, you would be able to read the time behind me because you're on autopilot. But how do we teach our kids this life skill? In today's video, I'm sharing with you a free download to help you and your little ones master the skill of telling analog time. So if this sounds interesting to you, stay tuned, give this video a thumbs up because it really does support my channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell so you get notified when we upload every Monday and Thursday, and let's get into it. If this is our first time meeting, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. My name is Beck, and today's video is some teacher tips on how to help your child to read analog time. This is a really tricky one to do because the hour and minute hands move independently yet together. And this is a resource that I would print off for my classroom. And now that my daughter is in grade 1 and showing an interest in wanting to tell analog time, I have remade it and added some extra elements to it so I can support her in her journey of reading time. For the purpose of this video, I've actually made it 3 different color schemes because I know that some kids would benefit off using a mix match approach while other kids would love just one specific color. So definitely stay until the end of the video and I will share with you how you can download this for free and start using it in your home. But let's get into the materials that you'll need for today. There are only 4 things that you will need to grab around the house. The first of which is print off whichever clock you are going to be using. You'll need some scissors so you can cut it out and some glue tack to stick it up. And then finally, it's kind of a pick your own adventure. If you have a laminator and have the capacity to laminate this, I highly recommend it because it will just give your display some durability to it and help it to last longer. But if you don't have that and you don't want to go out and buy it, get some cardboard and back it, because if you try to stick paper up on your clock, the sides will start to curl and it will become hard to read. And you really want to make this flower to just blend in with the rest of your clock. You don't really want it to be a distraction, you want it to be a visual aid to assist them as a strategy. Step 1 is to pick your color scheme. So because I really like my room to be happy and bright and I love sunflowers, I originally made this clock as a little sunflower, a yellow flower. But on our website, you will also find blue and purple. Our clock is actually quite large. I don't think it would be considered a farmhouse clock, but it is bigger than your typical clock that you would find in a workplace. So for the purpose of designing this for our household, I have made it so that each petal is 10 centimeters in width. If your clock is a standard clock, I would recommend when you go into your print settings, maybe minimize the page, or you can go into your print settings and do 2 pages on 1 page, and this will reduce it enough to fit a normal size clock. With each download, you will find the petals that will go around the outside of the clock to help your child with the minutes. You can explain to them that it's a skip counting pattern of 5s, and this is where it's really good that you have multiple options, because if you want to really enhance the visual skip counting pattern, you can have alternating colors. So you might say that the 5s are in the yellow and that the 10s, the 0s, are going to be in purple, and then that way they can see the fact that there is a skip counting pattern happening. Otherwise, you can just pick the one color, whichever you think is going to suit your child is what is best for them. The next step is to cut out this resource, and this is where you're going to either split off into laminating it and cutting it out again. It's really important when you are laminating stuff to cut it out once, laminate it and cut it out again, making sure that you have at least 1 millimeter between the piece of paper and where you're cutting, because it needs to have that adhesive stick to it. If you cut it right on top of your cutout, you're not actually allowing the adhesive to stick down, and you're going to find that your laminate is going to peel off eventually. So have that little border around your piece of paper and it will help with durability. Otherwise, get some really thick cardboard and glue your piece of paper onto the cardboard. Finally, you're going to stick your petals around the outside of your clock. There are 2 ways that you can do this. You can stick it on the rim of the clock, or you can stick it behind the clock, whichever works for you. I really enjoy overlapping the petals. I think it looks visually pleasing and it actually helps it to look more like a flower. But if you want it to be smaller and individual, then that's your choice as well. At the bottom of the display, you'll see the fact that there's a stem with 2 leaves. Now these leaves are really important because they act as a visual reminder to help your child to decipher what hand tells what part of time. So the code is the fact that the smaller hand is the smaller leaf, and this represents our hour. What hour are we on in our time? And then the larger petal represents the fact that this is the larger hand or the longer hand, and that's our minute time. I've had to explain to Amira that the hours read the numbers and the minutes read the petals, and that's the way that we can tell the time. There's also a bonus part that you can put onto your display, and this is just a little bit extra, and that is our little bees. Now you don't need to put the bees onto the flower if you don't want to. I know from an Australian curriculum standpoint, if your child is in grade 1, then school is going to be exposing them to o'clock and 1/2 So if you wanted to practice that at home, then this is your opportunity to put them there. I've just attached them on top of the petals so that Amira can see that there's actually words that go with them, because it's kind of tricky when you're teaching them. Like this morning, they had to leave at 8 o'clock. And o'clock is such an abstract term. We know that it means that it's the start of the time, it's the big hand is on the 12, and that it's 0 minutes past the hour because it's starting afresh. However, this is a new concept for them, and you're trying to wire those neural paths in their brain. So having that little bumblebee there to explain the fact that this means o'clock, which is the same as 00, and the different ways that we can represent it. Another tricky thing with 1/2, if you are really wanting to consolidate it, which means like really get it into their brains, is the fact that 1/2 time, the hour hand, which is our smaller hand, is going to be halfway between 2 numbers, and it's the number that it's jumped off that is the hour that it's representing. 1/4 and 1/4, and this is part of the grade 2 curriculum if you're wanting to do that sort of a year level. After that, they are reading minute by minute. If you want to expose them to that from the start, you absolutely can. Children's brains are like sponges, and it's great to give them as much knowledge as they can handle. But once you kind of know where your child's threshold is, definitely just focus on that. If they can just do the petal times, do the petal times. If you want to add the words like o'clock and 1/2, add them in. It's up to you, but I hope you just enjoy this journey of teaching your child such an important life skill. Time really is a tricky concept for kids to grasp, but you have to remember that every opportunity to tell the time is a great learning opportunity. So slow your life down a little bit when you are trying to teach them this life skill, and make the most of every time that you can read a clock together. Use it. If you have gotten to this point of the video, you're probably asking, how can you get your hands on this free download? And it is in the description box below. You'll find a link that will take you over to our website. From there, you can download your free PDF and print it off and do all of these steps to make it in your home to help your little ones out. If you do make it, I would love to see it, so please tag me on Instagram. It would bring me such joy to see how you guys use this and if it does help your kids, because I know that it's definitely helping Amira and it's helped my kids out in my classroom. So if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does support my channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell so you get notified when we upload every Monday and Thursday, because this parenting gig doesn't come with a rule book, we only have each other. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.